Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Jillian Berry, and today we have an amazing guest. We have Shane Sterling on, and we're going to talk about how to build muscle on a raw vegan or vegan diet. So, Shane has done just that. He looks amazing. He is almost 50 years old, and he is an over 5 year raw vegan. So, he's going to share so many amazing tips with us today. And I have so many amazing, great questions about building muscle mass from you guys, my viewers, as well. So let's get right into it. Give this video a big thumbs up right now. Make sure you subscribe if you don't already. And let's say hey to Shane. Hey, Shane, how's it going?
Hello. Hello, Jillian. Hello, audience. I'm so glad to be here. Building muscle is like seriously one of my deep passions, and I have a lot of experience. So I'm happy to share everything I know today with your viewers and listeners.
Yeah, awesome. Okay. And before we get into the muscle questions, I just want to ask quick for people watching, why living foods? So why do you eat a raw vegan diet?
So many reasons. Well, for one, it makes you feel your best, helps you be the best version of yourself. And it just like it activates your entire cellular matrix of your body, and it detoxifies your body, and it hydrates your body, and it clears your mind, and it gives you a sense of meaning and purpose beyond just the mundane. Raw food like activates us. It
Mm-hmm.
makes us feel more connected and more alive and more meaning in our life. It really gives I think it's the missing link. Personally, I think if our society was to eat more raw food, we'd all be more in tune, more intuitive, more kind, more compassionate, more vision led, more grounded. And so a raw vegan diet for me in my life is simply the only option. There's really no other option for me.
Mm-hmm. Me too. I agree. And what do you have to say to people who say, Shane, you're lying about your diet because other raw vegans do not look like this. They do not have these kinds of muscles, and you're lying about your diet, or maybe you're on steroids.
It's so good you asked this right off the bat, because I was thinking I'm going to get into this because people always accuse me of lying and say
Yeah.
that I'm cheating with eating meat behind the scenes and I'm on steroids. I get it all the time. It's so funny because I am fully raw and I just work out. And so I
Mhm.
don't even take supplements really. I just eat food and I work out. But I know the secrets of how to do it to build muscle. I see so many people in the gym, for instance, who go in there and seem like they're working so hard month in and month out, and there's no change. They don't get any results from their effort in the gym. That's a big problem. Why would somebody go into the gym and get no effort? Because they
Mhm.
don't know how to use the body mechanics and how to stimulate muscle growth and eat properly. So, no, I'm fully raw vegan. I have been for 5 years, and I've been mostly plant based for 33 years of my life and strict vegan for 18 years. So I'm not
Mhm.
interested in animal products in any way. I strive to understand how to build an aesthetic physique, be the healthiest I can possibly be at the peak of health, the peak of mental performance on a fully raw vegan diet. That's my goal. That's my passion. That's my mission. I'm a living example of it. And that's what I'm committed to creating and being in my life.
Mhm. Well said. And what do you think about when some people say, well, I've been raw vegan or vegan for a certain amount of time and I've lost a lot of muscle mass and I feel weak? What do you think people are doing wrong when that's the case? And then a lot of times they think the diet failed them and they go back, they think they need like the animal products.
Yes, this is exactly correct. Most people will experience some weight loss in the early stages of a raw vegan diet. Why would that be? Because we have to go through detox. Our body detoxes for quite a long period of time. I would say, in my own personal experience, my detox was about 2 years, and I got down to about 145 pounds. I was under 150 pounds. For my height, I'm 6'2". I'm
Mhm.
currently 195 pounds and pretty lean. I'm about 15% body fat. So when I went raw vegan, I did a 40-day juice fast. I lost muscle mass. I stayed fully raw, high fruit based diet to continue my detoxification and healing journey. I continued to lose muscle mass. I look back at early videos of myself and early pictures in those early days of being raw vegan, and I was emaciated looking. I was way too skinny. I was swimming in my sleeves, and
Mhm.
so when I felt like I had adapted enough and gone through enough of the detox process and cleaned my gut and improved my digestion, improved my absorption and utilization of food from focusing on bowel detoxification, and rebuilding my gut microbiome properly with raw foods, that's when I started to go back to the gym. And
Mhm.
that's when I saw incredible results. Within 3 years of working out consistently in the gym, I've put on 40 pounds of muscle. And that's no
Wow.
joke. 40 pounds of muscle. That's because I believe my absorption is on point. My utilization is on point. I'm eating nothing but whole, undenatured food. So my body knows how to utilize that food properly and can break it down and bring the components to the cells to build the tissues.
Mhm. And
And
do you
then,
notice a difference? Like if you have had over the years cooked foods, do you notice a difference then in your performance in the gym?
yes, of course, I worked out for many years eating cooked food and animal products. In fact, I'm about to release a video on my channel from carnivore to raw vegan, how I was carnivore for a period of time trying to build muscle on the fitness industry's standard narrative of eating 1 gram of animal protein per pound of body weight. And this is to stimulate muscle protein synthesis and build muscle. Most people will buy into that. In fact, I don't know many people that I've ever talked to that would disagree with that scientific narrative. However, in my personal experience, the compromises of eating an animal based protein, high protein diet like that are too great. It's far too compromising to your health. It's acid forming in the body and it's congestive to the body and forms mucus. It's highly compromising to your health. You will experience acidosis symptoms eating an animal based diet like that. We can have the same result if we just focus on alkaline foods and detoxify the gut, strengthen the gut to absorb the foods properly. Then we're going to get everything we need from the plant based foods and be able to build muscle that way.
Mhm. And before we get into the foods and anything else, could you please show us your muscle so we can get a better
Oh,
picture of
thank
what is
you.
going
Thank
on?
you. Yeah. So
Yeah, that's really you have
I
really good muscle mass. I feel like it's like the perfect size too. It's not like, you
mm,
know? Yeah.
I like the aesthetic, so I'm not interested in looking like a bodybuilder. I don't want to be bulky. I want to look like an underwear model or something, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
want to have like a perfect physique. I'm really an aesthetic person. I like beauty. I like health. And so, to be honest, I don't do it for just the way I look. I do it for my health primarily. And the result of the consistency and the focus on my health has resulted in my body and my physique and my muscle mass. I'm committed to specific style of strength training in the gym and specifically progressive overload and hypertrophy style training, which we can get into, with a focus on that, plus eating the proper amount of calories from a whole food diet, raw, undenatured, after years of bowel detoxification. This is the result. So we don't need to eat these heavy protein based diets to get the result. We just need to focus on the right steps and focus on the right style of training in the gym. That's a key component. Everybody wants to look muscular and look like a fitness model, but nobody wants to do the work. How are you
Mhm.
going to look like you are fit if you don't put in the work? And it takes consistency. If you go to the gym for 3 months, you might not notice a single change. But if you
Mhm.
go to the gym for 3 years, you're going to see the difference. So it takes hard work and consistency. I've been lifting weights for 10 years now. Since 2012 was the first time I ever hit the bench press. I had dumbbells around my house and, did push-ups like most people do, but I never went to the gym until 2012. And to be honest, I got bit by the weightlifting bug because I love the way it makes me feel. It's incredibly energizing to my mindset and to my body. The hormone release, the testosterone release for me as a man, when I lift heavy weights, it just puts my hormones where they need to be. My skin is the result of lifting weights. People always ask me, what's your skincare routine? It's exercise and lifting
Mhm.
weights. If I don't work out, like if I take a week off, my skin starts to look pale and sallow and I lose the color in my cheeks. I don't like the way I look. I literally go to the gym to keep my face looking good.
Mhm. I
That's
love
one
it.
of the
That's a good point though. Working out really does do that. And I want to ask you
yeah.
too, like you're talking about hormones, testosterone. I know some men will say, well, maybe they have a little bit of interest in this diet and they see that it does work for some people, but then they think, well, I don't want to do that because it's going to lower my testosterone and make me too feminine. So what do you say? What do you have to say to guys who have that opinion about the lifestyle?
A lot of guys who come to the plant-based lifestyle, the vegan lifestyle, and the raw vegan lifestyle are sensitive people. They want to help the animals. They want to help the planet. They're ethical. They're compassionate, sensitive men. This is the type of men we need. But we don't want effeminate men. We want masculine men. So the hormones are from stimulating the body properly. And if a man is sensitive and wants to be vegan, he's got to lift weights. He's got to go into the gym and lift as heavy as he possibly can to stimulate the proper hormonal response in the body. We don't want to be an example of weakness. Veganism is actually a great strength. It's a mental strength. Ethics, compassion is the ultimate ethic. If we want to be an ethical society, we have to take the animals into consideration and we have to stop eating them.
Mm-hmm.
The good news is we don't need them at all. So if we're going to be vegan or raw vegan, especially, all the more reason to be attentive to how we keep our hormonal balance at peak performance. So this requires us to do the 5 compound lifts in the gym. The 5 compound lifts are barbell lifts only. None of this cable or machine or dumbbell stuff. Barbell. You pick up the bar and you do the 5 compound movements. And those are the heavy movements that recruit all of the muscles in the body. And they are bench press, overhead press, bent over row, deadlift, and squat. And if you do those 5, especially for men wanting to stimulate testosterone, because that's what we're talking about, and be masculine, then it's essential, it's imperative that you do those 5 lifts and you work on progressive overload strength training specifically, which means every time you go into the gym, you try to get another rep out of it, or you try to put a little more weight on the bar each time. You progressively overload the muscle and you get stronger and stronger. You actually change your nervous system. It's not just about the muscle. It's about the nervous system, and the nervous system adapts and becomes stronger. Also the ligaments and the bone density. So many naysayers talk about losing bone density on a raw vegan diet or a vegan diet, which isn't true, because alkaline foods will maintain the balance of the minerals in our bones.
Mm-hmm.
It's the acidic diets that actually leach minerals from the bones. Like an animal-based diet will cause osteoporosis, arthritis, and other acidosis inflammation type issues. But eating an alkaline diet means that we will maintain our bone mass. But then if you go into the gym and you lift heavy, you're going to stimulate bone density and ligament strength and nervous system strength. This is uncomparable to anything else in the health world. You can't create that level of internal bodily strength and capability without putting your body under this type of stress. So as we know, in ancient times or in past, versions of humanity, we would be lifting heavy, we would be walking long distances, we would be putting our body under stress. In our modern
Mm-hmm.
convenience world, we need to go in and do the hard work in the gym. It's imperative, and I recommend it almost above all else. I mean, eating raw and working out is the tenet of my success as a raw vegan.
Mm-hmm. And how do you stay motivated? Like, how do we stay motivated for somebody starting out to get from like A to B, to get to like where you are, like, especially when it can take time to see results in the gym, right?
Yeah, that's such a good question, Jillian. Such a good question. How do we find the motivation? Well, for one, if we get past the initial conditioning phase of working out in the gym, we will actually get energized from the workouts. The first 3 months of working out in the gym, the exercise is hard. It makes your muscles sore. You feel exhausted and tired.
Mm-hmm.
It's the opposite of energizing you. You feel like a wet rag afterwards, and you can barely lift your arm and you're all shaky and you feel horrible. That's a temporary phase that we have to get past. We have to use a little bit of willpower to just say, I know there's something better coming. If you don't have the experience, you can trust me. After a few months, the workouts will no longer make you sore or shaky or take energy from you. They will actually energize you and stimulate you. So I go to the gym like today, Jillian, before our talk here, I went to the gym to energize my mind to be an effective speaker here today, to serve people. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't go to the gym just to work out or to look aesthetic or whatever. It energizes me, fills me with energy, literally. It gets my
Yeah.
endorphin. hormones flowing.
It like really
So,
carries into your life, right?
oh yeah, if we want to have an easy life, we have to do hard work to have an easy life. If we don't do the hard work, we're going to have a hard life. So we have to just choose which hard do we want. Do we want a consistent, ongoing hard life where we never get what we want and everything's out of reach? We can't figure out why we're not effective. We can't quite put our finger on why our life isn't working. Or do we want to go into the gym and simulate the hard work in a contained, safe environment where we put our mind and body under stress?
Mm-hmm.
And then when we go out into the world, everything is easy. Everything
Mm-hmm.
is manageable.
Mm-hmm.
That's
And
how I look
how,
at it.
yeah, how many times per week do you work out? And what is your eating routine? Like, what do you eat on a day where you're lifting and trying to build muscle? And like, what is your pre and post workout meal?
It's a great question. Let's see. The first thing, I work out 5 to 6 days a week right now. Okay. But this is
Wow.
an advanced level of conditioning. I
Mm-hmm.
would not be able to work out 6 days a week if I was just starting. It's actually not recommended. If you're just starting, you might want to work out 3 days a week and let your muscles and your body fully recover. Your nervous system has to adapt. So for anyone who's skinny and eating raw or vegan or raw vegan, wants to build muscle, wants to be an example of strength and capability or masculinity if you're a man, you have to start somewhere. And starting with 3 days a week is adequate. It's good enough. And then over time, when your conditioning gets up to speed, then you can go to more frequent workouts. Because for me, I do a split, a push pull leg split. So I give each body part and all my muscles time to rest in between exercises, even though I'm working out 6 days a week. Recovery is extremely important. So understanding how to split your workout routine to where you're not always working out the same muscles is imperative. And you want to optimize muscle gains by working out the muscle twice a week. So the push pull leg split works perfectly because you can do push pull legs, rest, push pull legs, rest, and on and on. And it gives every muscle group a chance to work and rest, work and rest. So that's what I do. And I do hypertrophy, which is specifically a rep range to break down muscle tissue, which I can't stress this enough. It's so important to understand how to work in a hypertrophy range of reps and sets for your muscles. This is something that takes quite a bit of time to learn and master. It took me many years. When you first start working out, you're just trying to move the weight. You're just trying to understand, how do I move and push this weight off my chest or over my head? What you need to do actually is focus on the muscle moving under tension and do it until the muscle fails under tension. It's not about the weight. It's not about moving the weight. We get disillusioned because we see pictures of bodybuilders grunting and making grimacing faces as they push weight around. And it makes
Mm-hmm.
us think that we have to lift heavy weight, but we don't actually have to lift heavy weight. We just have to work in hypertrophy, which is 8 to 12 reps and taking the muscle to failure within 8 to 12 reps. That means the muscle fibers actually fail and it recruits every fiber of the muscle tissue deep down in the muscle to actually squeeze out the last reps to failure. If you do that, plus progressive overload, plus a proper workout split, giving your muscles a time to rest, plus diet, you will build muscle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Also, as people need help with this is why there's personal trainers. This is why people hire fitness people to help, because it takes a little bit of practice. So, that's what I do. I help people come up with plans. I, work with so many people to help them be raw vegan, eat the lifestyle they want, but also have the body mass. A lot of my clients actually come to me for this.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of the food, do you want to talk about the food, Jillian? Is that something that would be good to
Yeah,
talk
I
about?
do. I would love to talk about what you eat like for building muscle, and especially what you eat like pre and post workout.
Okay. So I always load my calories for the day right around my workouts,
Mm-hmm.
because if you're going to stimulate your muscles, you've got to feed the muscles. So what I do is I have a real high calorie smoothie before I work out. I
Mm-hmm.
shoot for usually 1,000 calories, and I put some proteins in there. Like I'll put flax seeds, chia seeds, hemp seeds, bananas and dates. I'll put spinach, I'll put spirulina and chlorella. I'll usually focus on natural protein rich foods, not protein powders. I don't like protein powders. They give me gas and indigestion. I literally don't like them. I
Mm-hmm.
do use them here and there. I do usually put like a scoop or a small scoop in my morning smoothie, but I would like to just preface by saying I'm not a fan of protein powders. So I focus on whole food proteins. and make high calorie smoothies with that. As a raw vegan, I also focus on good amounts of fats. I always make sure there's good amount of fat in my morning smoothie, pre-workout smoothie, to fuel my body properly. For one, fats have more calories, which is essential, and
Mm-hmm.
fats are also essential for the hormones and all the metabolic processes of our body. I'm not a low fat raw vegan at all. I eat a
Mm-hmm.
lot of fat, and it's part of why I think I am healthy and my physique is good, is because I don't focus on a fruit based diet only. I actually focus on like the proper fat consumption. That's maybe my more important macro that I focus on. I
Mm-hmm.
focus on fats, and I let the proteins fall where they may, and I let the carbs fall where they may. I never track proteins or carbs at all, but I do track fats. And I
Mm-hmm.
think about my fats, and I focus on omega-3 rich sources of fats, and I focus on protein rich sources of fats. And that's what I focus on. When I eat fat, I'm thinking, how much protein am I getting in this fat? How much omega-3 am I getting in this fat? So
Mm-hmm.
that's how I structure my morning smoothies, is to focus on those protein rich fats and omega-3 rich fats. So then I have 1,000 calories before my workout and usually 1,000 calories after my workout. So that sets me up with 2,000 calories for the day right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can eat a light lunch or a light dinner,
Mm-hmm.
which is usually what I do.
And
And
how
I'll,
important do you think it is for people to be in a calorie surplus if they want to build muscle?
yeah, that's such an important question, Jillian. So building muscle, actually increasing the size of the muscle itself, requires a calorie surplus. If you go into the gym and you lift some weights, it'll pop, your muscle will pop out. It might actually stand out and you could see a little bit of it there and you'll be like, oh, look, I'm building muscle. But you're not. You're just, getting a pump, or kind of engorging the muscle with blood, or it gets a little inflamed as the tissues break down as you're working it. But to actually build size or build mass, which is what I'm talking about, which is why I put on 40
Mm-hmm.
pounds of muscle in 3 years, which is why I'm 195 pounds and 15% body fat. I'm lean and muscular, and you can see it. I'm not going to take my shirt off. I thought about it, but
Do
you
it.
know, I
Mm-hmm.
but I look, people are surprised. I look like any gym goer, I'm pretty ripped. And that requires a calorie surplus. Now the thing is, when you eat in a calorie surplus, you're literally gaining weight. Okay, so this is what I've done over the years. I've tracked my weight gain on the scale. I will track weight gain. I want to gain just a little bit, maybe 1 pound a week, while I'm doing progressive overload training. So the extra calories that I'm consuming fuel heavier and heavier workouts. To get stronger in the gym, we need to fuel that strength increase with calories. So a calorie surplus will give you more strength, but it will also make you gain muscle and body fat at the same time. So that by the time you've been in a calorie surplus for a few months, you're going to gain some body fat. You're going to look fat. That's when we have to diet off the fat. That's so that
Mm-hmm.
this is bulking and cutting. This is something I've learned to do even as a raw vegan, because I want the results. I want to be muscular and strong, and I want to be lean at the same time. But this is a paradox. And it's why bodybuilders are so impressive at looking, and people are amazed by people with fitness type physiques, because they are muscular and lean at the same time, which is a paradox. It's very hard to achieve because you need a lot of calories to gain muscle, and you need to be in a calorie deficit to be lean. So
Mm-hmm.
if someone listening right now is carrying extra body fat and they're overweight, the only way to get it off is to track your calories and make sure you're eating in a calorie deficit. You have to consume less calories than you're eating, even if it's raw food. And I know a lot of raw vegans talk about, oh, it's the abundance lifestyle. I came to this lifestyle to heal my eating disorder, so I never have to restrict anything.
Mm-hmm.
But the bottom line is calories are calories. And if we want to lose that extra 10 pounds around the middle, if we want to look like, we really take care of ourselves and be at that highest level of fitness and health, then we do have to track our calories and understand the calorie in, calorie out ratio.
Mm-hmm.
And if we want to build muscle, we have to eat in a calorie surplus. There's
Mm-hmm.
no other way to do it.
And do you think even for some of us women, we need to not be afraid to like gain a little bit of weight as we gain muscle on the scale, at the gym?
100%. Such a good question. Such a good question.
Mm-hmm.
And 100%, all the ladies listening, to actually put on muscle mass, yeah, you're going to have to put on a little body fat with it. The good thing is that as we increase our muscle mass on our body, it increases our health. It increases our immune system. It increases our longevity. There's studies linked to muscle mass and longevity, muscle mass and health. It's imperative that we have proper muscle mass on our body just so we can function and feel our best and have the highest level of health. Good muscle mass equals clarity of mind, proper immune system. It'll help you beat your allergies. It'll help you beat your fatigue. It'll help you beat your brain fog. Muscle mass is the key. So we can't be afraid to eat properly to fuel muscle mass gains. That's what it takes for men and women. We are all biologically identical. So the good news is that if you can learn how to put muscle mass on, this is the other thing I wanted to say. Muscle is a biologically active tissue, and it requires calories to just be on your body. So the more muscle you have on your body, the less body fat you'll have naturally by eating the right amount of food or less food. So for me, I can eat a lot of food and still be really lean. So the real freedom lifestyle does not come from just eating raw vegan. The real freedom lifestyle, where you don't have to worry about gaining body fat, comes from having good muscle mass. And then you can eat more food and enjoy your food, eat abundance of fats like I do, and still be lean and muscular. That's the real freedom right there. And it's magical.
Yeah. And you feel satisfied like working out like this and eating raw vegan meals? Because I know a lot of people, when they get big into the gym or cycling, things like that, or they're trying to get muscle in the gym, then they say like they have to go back to some cooked food because they just feel like they need more calories that they feel like they can't get from that raw food.
Calories are calories. How many calories do you need?
True. Yeah.
And where are you getting your calories from? Do you need cooked food to get more calories? Absolutely not. Nope. If you understand that you need 3,000 calories to be in a slight calorie surplus to build muscle, for instance, and you're like, well, I need 3,000 calories a day. Okay, well, you can put 1,000 calories into one smoothie. You can have fruit meals, big salad, eat nuts and seeds. You can easily eat 3,000 calories. I do every single day. The drive for cooked food comes, I think, from just our familiarity, what's comfortable. And it brings us up against our conditioning and our patterns. Eating a raw vegan diet brings us up against our emotional shadow and our emotional patterns and trauma patterns that have not been addressed in our life. And I honestly think being a bodybuilder, going into the gym and working hard, but then only giving yourself raw food is such a high level of personal self-mastery and personal achievement that most people are not ready for it. And I think that they just feel like, oh, I have to have cooked food to kind of like bring down the level of growth, the responsibility of that big picture that's happening. So I think it's psychological. I think it's emotional. And, if I have, like, once in a while, I'll make a potato or a little quinoa or something to try it, just to remind myself, no, I don't need this. This is not going to give me what I want. A potato or quinoa or grains or whatever, or legumes does not help you build muscle. It does not. It actually clogs your digestive system, creates inflammation, sluggish bowels, acidosis, which is the opposite of building muscle. You want your blood system to be operating at premium performance to get all the nutrition to the cells. So your body has to be mucus free. Eating mucus forming foods doesn't make any sense. So eating grains, legumes, animal products is counterintuitive to being healthy and building muscle. Now, bulking up and being like these aggressive, steroided looking, inflamed meat eaters that we see, that is not a good goal. That's not a good goal. For one, most bodybuilders who compete professionally, who are eating these types of diets and taking steroids, die at like age 45. So although they might win contests on the stage for a short period of time and look impressive, they've destroyed their life and destroyed their bodies. And so that's no goal. That is not a goal. We want longevity. People say I take steroids, but it's ridiculous because my goal is health and longevity and vibrancy. So I would never put a chemical in my body. I'd never put a pharmaceutical in my body. It doesn't make any sense. I eat whole raw food and I exercise consistently. That is the medicine. that gives us the ultimate achievement. And then we can reach our genetic potential. And that's really the what we're after. We're after our genetic potential. So for me at 6'2", I'm 50 years old. I'm only going to be able to hold so much muscle mass at my age. I'm not going to look like I'm a 25-year-old or a 30-year-old. So there is genetic potential for our age and
Mm-hmm.
our frame. Like we have a certain amount of mass we can hold on our actual frame. So that's what we want to achieve, is our genetic potential, not achieving what somebody else has achieved. We don't ever want to look at someone else and say, oh, I want to have that. Although we do, and it's natural to compare, what we really want to say is, who am I? And how
Mm-hmm.
can I reach my highest potential for my life and my body and feel my best? Doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter how you look if you die at age 44, does it?
Yeah, really well said. And if somebody does want to be a bodybuilder, like that's something they want to do and they want to eat raw vegan, do you think that's possible to achieve that?
Yeah, I laughed. I laugh because it's such a horribly ingrained narrative that we must consume animal-based proteins to build muscle. It's just simply not true. For
Mm-hmm.
one, every amino acid known to man is all in plants. There's no amino acid in animals that is not in plants. It doesn't exist. All the proteins are in every food. Amino acids make up every food that we eat. We just need to eat food, raw and denatured food. But the narrative that we need to eat a specific way, that we need to eat eggs and rice and chicken, and this whole bodybuilder
Mm-hmm.
narrative is so steeped. If you go online, if you go to Google, you're going to be indoctrinated so heavily by this. And there's no countering information. You can't go on Google or to fitness websites or fitness magazines and get any alternative information. It's all that. It's chicken and rice and high amounts of
Mm-hmm.
animal protein. So if you're going to be a bodybuilder, how many people are going to be self-referenced to the point where they believe they can build the muscle to their genetic potential on a raw vegan diet? How many people are going to do that? This is a psychological journey. This is actually psychological warfare against a horrendous way of being, eating high animal-based diets without vision, with no vision for our life, leading with someone else's vision, being indoctrinated into a paradigm that destroys our life and others' lives. It doesn't make any sense. So who's going to be the person that spends the year or 2 years detoxifying the bowels, cleaning the bowels so that they can utilize the food properly, so they can actually be a raw vegan and face their fears and face the emotional shadow they've been avoiding their whole life? Who's going to actually decide, oh, I want to be muscular as a raw vegan, but oh, I actually have to do years and years of personal development work to be a leader in my life, to be led by a vision, to get out of my own way, so I'm not living out somebody else's paradigm and vision. And how am
Mm-hmm.
I going to, I have to face my fears. I have to face my worst fears and my traumas to actually do this. No, how many people want to do that? That's what it actually is. It's actually self-mastery on the highest level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was gonna ask you how important you think visualization is in achieving like the muscle mass or the body we want.
Such a good question, Jillian. Gosh, you always ask the best questions. I swear,
Thanks.
Jillian is a master.
Thanks.
Jillian. So it's really important to visualize the life we want, to visualize who we are committed to being, what we are committed to creating, being pulled by a vision of the future. That includes building muscle. The reason I'm successful at building muscle, why I put on 40 pounds of muscle as a raw vegan in the last 3 years, it's like so hard to achieve that, but I have been focused on visualizing my muscles growing. When I work out at the gym, I actually put my mind in the muscle. And the fitness people talk about this, the mind muscle connection. It's very, very real. When I'm working my muscles through a range of motion under resistance, my mind isn't thinking about the weight in my hand. My mind isn't thinking about the music in the stereo or anything else. My mind is literally in the muscle, and I'm feeling the fibers contract, and I'm visualizing the muscle tissue expanding, and I'm squeezing blood into it. I feel the blood squeezing into the muscle. Like if I'm doing a row, I feel my back squeezing and filling with blood, and I put my mind into my back. And I imagine my brain is back there, like working the fibers, pulling the blood in. I visualize it. Now, Arnold Schwarzenegger actually said that to have a physique like that you have to visualize it. You have to look in the mirror and you have to see yourself with the body you want. But you know what? That comes for everything in our life. We have to look in the mirror and visualize the
Mhm.
life we want. We have to look out at the world, which is so illusionary and so deceiving because it looks separate, and visualize what we want, what we are committed to creating, who we're going to be. That's what we've got to do. We've got to visualize every aspect because everything in existence, all of society, houses built, bridges, buildings, money, financial success, all of it starts with images in our mind. Every
Mhm.
roadway, every car that we see and drive is all starts in the mind of a human. And our mind is so powerful, and the visualization of our mind is how we create everything we want. And it's how I create what I want.
Mhm. Mhm. Amazing. And I'm wondering, is anyone ever, when you're at the gym, is anyone ever surprised by when you tell them I'm raw vegan, or like anyone you meet anywhere, like when they see like your physique?
It's funny because I don't talk about it, although I make TikTok
Yeah.
videos and my TikTok is Raw Vegan Rising. It's fun because I get a lot of haters on there. God, people are angry about the raw vegan message on TikTok. I'll tell you that.
Really? I'm not
Yeah,
on
they are.
TikTok. Yeah.
Oh my God, thousand. I've had a bunch of videos hit multiple millions of views, and just the barrage of hate toward the diet alternative narrative is like incredible
Why do you think it makes them so angry?
because people are addicted to
Yeah.
death. People are addicted to the death culture. The Stockholm syndrome is that we become sympathetic with our captors. That if you're kidnapped and imprisoned, that you actually become sympathetic with them and you start to try to understand them and blend with them. It's the Stockholm syndrome. That's what we're experiencing in our society. We're all slaves. If one being is enslaved on this planet, we are all slaves. So we are not free, and we think we are. We think we have free will to go eat whatever we want out of the grocery store, but we are slaves to the junk food and the death culture. And it is
Mhm.
holding us back on a severe level. But TikTok actually has this algorithm that shows people who go to my gym, my TikTok channel. Like if they're on TikTok, my channel will pop up on their TikTok. It's
Mhm.
something about the phones can sense the
Wow.
GPS. I know. So guys come up to me in the gym and they say, "Hey, I saw your TikTok. You're a raw vegan?" I'm a carnivore. This one guy the other day, he was like, "Well, I don't know anything about that. I'm a carnivore." No, not to throw anybody under the bus, but the
Yeah.
dude's like severely inflamed and doesn't look very good, you know. But look, I don't talk about it unless somebody asks me. I'm there
Yeah.
to do my work, to get in and to get out. I really don't talk about it. And if I do tell people my age or my dietary lifestyle, their jaw drops. Their jaw
Mhm.
literally hits the floor, or they're just like freaked out by it and they kind of never talk to me again.
Yeah.
Or if a girl comes up to me and asks for my like number or something in the gym, and then she sees my Instagram that I'm a raw vegan, see you later. I mean,
Yeah.
nobody. My lifestyle is different than most people's normal paradigm, so it doesn't really fit into most people's narratives. But I'm happy to be a leader in the field. I'm happy to stand out from the crowd, go against the mainstream, and stand and march to my own drum because I know what I represent is the truth. It's our own personal sovereignty, it's personal freedom, it's self mastery at a high level. A raw vegan diet plus excellent exercise. You can't fake health. You've either got it or you don't. I'm
Mhm.
50 years old. You can see whether I've got it or not. You make the call, and that's not something you can fake. And I like
Mhm.
that because the proof is there to see for all to see. And, everybody has a different perspective of what they think healthy is. Some people think obese is healthy nowadays, but
Mhm.
we all know that health on the most fundamental level is radiance and a genetic potential of our physical biology. And so that radiates in a way that none of this, like, what's the term? The inclusive culture of our modern society can
Mhm.
fake.
Mhm.
So
Mhm. Well said, like always. And if somebody wants to fast, like a juice cleanse or any type of fasting, do you think that they can still train and build muscle in the gym? Or do you think that that's a time for them to rest and not do any like muscle building in the gym?
Such an important question. And I get this question all the time, literally every week, a couple times. Somebody contacts me and asks, I want to do a juice fast. Can I build muscle in the gym
Mhm.
during a juice fast? It's imperative that we understand that detoxification and muscle building are different. Like I said, muscle building requires a calorie surplus. Are we going to be focusing on a calorie surplus and muscle building during a detoxification phase where
Mm-mm.
we're focused on elimination? No. Detoxification needs to be its own focus, one thing at a time. Everybody thinks multitasking is some like virtue when it's actually not. If we have two goals that conflict, we will achieve neither. So it's a better strategy to pick one goal and make it your primary and only goal until that is achieved. That's how I work, and that's how I approached my detox and my muscle building strategy. So I detoxed for 2 years without the gym. I became skinny AF, and I didn't like the way I looked, but it wasn't about how I looked. It was about detoxing my bowels and rebuilding my gut microbiome to be able to digest and utilize and absorb a raw vegan diet well and impeccably. So I waited until my digestion was extremely good on
Mhm.
100% raw diet before I went back to the gym. And then once I went back to the gym, I adjusted my diet and my macros, like I said, focusing on fats as my primary macro that I focus on, to then go into calorie surplus, strength training, hypertrophy, progressive overload, and mind muscle connection. And then that was a completely different focus. You can't focus on both at the same time. So, no, they are different. Do a juice fast first, get your gut in order, reverse your health problems, get cleaned out, get on point, and then focus on being strong and looking good.
Mhm. And how do you think someone can tell when they're fully detoxed and like fully cleaned out and then ready to like start building, you know?
Yeah, well, because the body's going to let you know. If you do a juice fast to clean out all the mucoid plaque, biofilms, waste, impacted fecal matter that's built up in there, that's poisoning you from the inside, that's causing congestion and inflammation and irritable syndromes and immune syndromes. If you have any of these, then it's cleaning out the gut is absolutely imperative. That's the first step.
Mhm.
And once the gut is completely emptied out, then you can start eating again. So when do you know your gut's completely emptied out? Well, nothing comes out. So you
Mhm.
want to do a juice fast literally as long as it takes till nothing left is coming out.
Mhm.
And then when you start eating again, you're going to notice, oh crap, this is hard. Eating raw food is a really big chore to digest it properly, to get it through the bowels, to utilize the food. Now my cravings are coming back. So there's a massive journey we have to go through to
Mhm.
rebuild the gut microbiome on a raw vegan diet after a juice fast. But there's really no other way. We've got to clean out the gut. We've got to start fresh. We've got to do that reset. And it's like stripping everything down to the bones. You've got to
Mhm.
strip your body down to the basics, clean out the gut, and then rebuild it. That's the way you're going to create extreme vitality and health. That's what I did. I stripped everything down and I
Mhm.
rebuilt it. And the work of rebuilding my gut microbiome post juice fast on a 100% raw diet was one of the hardest things I've ever done. And one of the most worthwhile, amazing, life changing, fulfilling, truly miraculous things I've ever done.
Yeah,
And
and
I
look
would
where you are
highly,
now.
yeah, look where I am now. It's my work. I'm a full time coach. I assist people through this process. And it makes me feel like I'm on purpose. I have a mission in my life. I serve the animals, I serve people. I have a vision for the future that's bigger than myself.
Mhm.
I help people reverse their health problems. I mean, it's the best case scenario. It's win 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 all the way around for me. And
Mhm.
juice fasting was the threshold, the birth canal to bring me into a whole new paradigm of living my life.
Mhm.
So I would recommend it. I would
Mhm.
recommend it and take it seriously and take your transformation seriously and don't just do, a half-ass juice fast. Go all the way and then go all the way afterwards with rebuilding your body and get strong and be an example. If you want to be an inspiring person, live an inspiring life, do
Mhm.
inspiring things, live in an inspiring way. That's what it takes. We're not going to be an example of inspiration to others until we are inspiring. So
Mhm.
it's worthwhile. And any work that we front load in the gym or with juice fasting or eating raw vegan makes our life so much easier, you know?
I love that. I love that. Well,
Yeah.
my viewers have some amazing questions for you, so I'd love to get into those.
Sounds great. I love questions from
Okay.
the
So
viewers.
the first question says, can I build muscle in the fasted state when I am fasting intermittently? Which I think is a great question. And then they said, and how soon after the workout should I eat? And is fruit okay, or does it have to be a protein?
No, it does not have to be a protein. You know what my favorite post-workout meal is? Is pineapple and green juice. And that's
Mm,
what I just had today after my workout, pineapple and green juice. Don't focus on proteins, focus on fats. And fruit is, of course, okay. Fruit is wonderful. Pineapple is a great recovery food, and all fruit is because it restores glycogen to the muscles. You expend glycogen and then you refuel with glycogen. So fruit is optimal in every
hmm
single way for that process. I don't focus on protein myself ever. I do focus on protein rich fat sources though. Okay,
hmm
so I would recommend that as a raw vegan, especially.
hmm
Okay. And then intermittent fasting is interesting because people misunderstand the goal. They want to lose weight, they
hmm
want to look better. So they want to look, show abs or look lean or, look good, but it's a calorie deficit if you don't track your calories. So if you go into a calorie deficit for an
hmm
extended period of time, you'll lose muscle mass. Or you can eat a calorie surplus and intermittent fast at the same time, but you have to track your calories. So this is where a little bit of diligence comes in. You've got to know, are you in a calorie surplus or a calorie deficit? If you want to build muscle in the gym and intermittent fast at the same time, you absolutely can, but you have to be in a calorie surplus. You want to eat
hmm
enough food to fuel your strength, fuel your workouts, but then take some time off from eating at the end of the day and have an intermittent fasting. I actually do that myself, but it takes knowledge and it takes tracking and it takes being committed to do the day-to-day work to get the results. So you might not want to track, but you would just want to intermittent fast, but that's not realistic. So you might have to step up your game to get the results you want if you're intermittent fasting.
Okay, great. And the next question they want to know, is it good to work out on an empty stomach or to be full?
As a raw vegan, I prefer to be full because what I've noticed is that food is my only energy. I don't do stimulants,
hmm
I don't do coffee or pre workout supplements. I have no stimulant. I've experimented with stimulants and working out over the years, and I just prefer food. I just prefer raw food. You know what my stimulant is?
hmm
Dates,
hmm
bananas, spinach, pineapple, flax, chia, and hemp seeds. Those are my stimulants. So if
hmm
I want to energize up for the gym, I got to down a big smoothie full of calories. And so for that reason, having calories before my workout is phenomenal. And I love it and prefer it. Working out fasted is just a gimmicky concept for people who are eating overly calorie dense foods like animal products and cooked grains. And you're going to be mucousy and inflamed and full of acids if you eat that way. So it doesn't matter if you're working out fasted in the morning because you're going to be counteracting it by eating these mucus forming foods. Eat a raw vegan diet. It's alkaline, and then the food is your fuel, the food is your stimulant. That, I'm telling you, it's like next level, like not relying on this traditional narrative and the
hmm
stimulation of these animal proteins and these supplements and stuff. None of that works anyway. Nobody gets any better results because they're eating protein, animal protein and protein powders. Nobody does. Look at 99.9% of the people in the gym. They look like everybody else. It's not about the protein. It's about alkaline foods and longevity and health and bone density and ligament tension and strength. That's what it's really about.
Absolutely. And the next question they said, is protein important at all, or calorie is more important for building muscle? How much protein per 1 kilo of body weight do you recommend? And then they asked about protein powders, but you talked about that already. And then they said if there's any protein powders you would recommend, or any proteins you recommend, like hemp or fermented chickpeas, etc.
Yeah. Could you tell me the question again? Because I was listening and then I forgot the first
Yeah.
part.
So maybe we talk about, so how much protein per 1 kilo of body weight do you recommend?
Oh yeah. Do we focus on protein and how much protein?
Mm-hmm.
So if we focus on protein as a raw vegan, we're going to
Mm-hmm.
get confused because we've grown up with these animal-based diets where we think of a chunk of animal flesh, a dead piece of carcass as protein. And even if you go to the restaurant, they say, "Do you want protein on your salad?" We don't even
Mm-hmm.
call it what it is, which is a
Mm-hmm.
dead animal.
Yeah,
it's
true.
it's carcass. Do we need carcass in our life? No, not under no circumstance do we. If we're a raw vegan or even a vegan, now if we're a vegan, we might think beans are our protein, right? We go to beans, but beans are cooked legumes. It's a highly bowel sluggish food. I mean, it takes our bowels to a grinding halt.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the people who eat a lot of beans. Do they look healthy? No, they do not. Beans are not a health food. I don't against the official narrative that beans are good for us. I don't think they are. I don't like
Yeah.
beans. So if we're not eating beans and grains and we're not eating animal products, where do we get our protein from? Proteins are bundled in all of the food we eat. As a raw vegan, there's protein in our greens, there's protein in our nuts and seeds, there's protein in our fruit, there's protein in every single food we eat. It's a better strategy, and it's my personal strategy to focus on the macro balance, not protein, the macro balance. So focus on the fat macro. Now, this is what I recommend. Here's the bottom line: focus on one macro only. You could focus on just carbs and let the fats and proteins fall where they may, or focus
Mm-hmm.
on protein and let the fats and carbs fall where they may. But what I do is I focus on the fats and I let the proteins and carbs fall where they may, because in my opinion, fats are the primary concern on a raw vegan diet. How much fat are you eating? How much omega-3 are you getting? The good thing is that all the proteins come bundled in the fats, just like animal products. Meat is highly fatty. It's saturated fat and it's got protein. The same in the raw vegan world. The
Mm-hmm.
fatty foods have the protein. So turn to the fats, monitor your fats, and you're going to get enough protein. Track it in a calorie tracker and a macro tracker, and you can see exactly how much you're getting. I don't make protein recommendations for my clients because it's the wrong focus. We don't need an abundance of amino acids. We don't need to supplement with protein powders. We need to eat a lot of calories. Most people are not eating enough food.
Mm-hmm.
If you saw how much food you needed to eat to gain muscle, you probably wouldn't do it. It's actually kind of gross. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
you have to eat when you're not hungry. Sometimes you have to force feed yourself if you're truly trying to gain muscle. And that's the dirty truth of it. Most people will not gain muscle because they don't want to eat that much food. So don't focus on protein, focus on the quantity of food.
Mm-hmm.
The only protein powder that I personally have stuck with over the years, I've tried them all, is the Garden of Life raw vegan protein powder. I don't
Mm-hmm.
promote it. I don't say, "Hey, go out and buy that one." I'm like, "Here, buy this one."
Yeah.
But it's the one that I will have a little of here and there. So
It's
I
not
find
bad.
most protein powders give me gas and bloating and indigestion, so I try to
Mm.
avoid them.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And the next question, they said, I lost too much weight after switching my diet to vegan and it worsened after raw vegan. BMI 16.6. I want to gain weight and muscle back, but I am too full to eat more raw food. And they said I am whole food, plant-based, NO, and nut-free. Any suggestions?
The primary question would be, how long has this person been on this? From my guesstimation, from hearing
Mm-hmm.
what they're saying, my guess is that they would only be on a plant-based diet for a few months or maybe under a year. But like I said, my detox transformation took 2 years. Losing weight is a sure sign that your body is adjusting to a different lifestyle and detoxing. There's no reason to lose weight unless you're either eating less calories than you're burning, or two, your body is detoxing.
Mm-hmm.
If you track your calories, you can prove and remove that variable that you're under eating. You got to track your calories. Are you under eating, or are you eating enough to maintain your body mass? If you track it and you can prove that you're eating enough and you've removed that variable, the only remaining variable is that your body's detoxing, because animal products are highly acidic,
Mm-hmm.
and mucus forming and congesting in the body creates a massive amount of acids, not to mention the microbiome and the bacteria and microbes that it requires to break down the animal products and what that microbiome is like. So what happens when that microbiome has to adjust to a plant-based diet? It's called detox. There's die-off of bacteria, there's releasing of toxins. It's pretty brutal to go
Mm-hmm.
through that. But sticking with a plant-based diet is the only option. It's the only option. And raw foods will speed up the detoxification process, but it comes down to the health of your gut microbiome. So this person who's losing weight needs to focus on bowel detoxification properly so that they can absorb and utilize their nutrition properly. You're not going to lose weight or become deficient in anything if you prepare your gut properly. So start with a juice fast, go as long as it takes to empty the gut out. Do it as a single one-time intervention, not an ongoing lifestyle. You don't have to juice fast the rest of your life. Just do it one time to clean out the gut and then rebuild your gut on raw foods. That's how to
Mm-hmm.
do it. If you do it
Mm-hmm.
that way, you will be able to make it through detox as efficiently as possible and rebuild your body mass on raw alkaline foods. Imagine that. Imagine building
Mm-hmm.
your whole body on raw alkaline foods.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, incredible, right? And Maureen, she says, I'm eating mostly fruit and starting with a personal trainer weightlifting. I've done powerlifting in the past as a vegan, but would like to know if eating mostly fruit and lifting heavy weight is possible. What do you think?
Mm, well, eating mostly fruit would indicate an imbalance in the macro ratio. So, if the body is required to build, if you're asking the
Mm-hmm.
body to build muscle tissue, to shred fat, to recomposition, the body needs fuel and it needs the proper macronutrients to do that. So, if you're eating only fruit, you're going to be very, very high carb, but no fat or no protein. That's not really a good strategy. I know we see images online maybe of fruitarians lifting weights
Mm-hmm.
at the gym, but
Yeah.
I I personally wouldn't try it. I'm not interested in being a fruitarian myself. I don't see the advantage because the body needs proteins and fats just as much as it needs carbohydrates. The universal law, God, whatever you want to call it, has created three macronutrients: proteins, carbs, and fats. And we
Mm-hmm.
need all of them. We shouldn't demonize any of them. We shouldn't avoid any of them. The previous question also talked about avoiding nuts, being nut free. There's no
Mm-hmm.
advantage to being nut free once you have detoxified your body properly. Nuts are a whole plant based food. And if you germinate or soak or activate them, whatever you want to call it, remove the enzyme inhibitors, there's literally no disadvantage to having nuts. They're high in protein, high in minerals and nutrients and vitamins, a great balance of proteins and fats. Excellent for bodybuilding. I use walnuts, pecans, almonds, Brazil nuts. I love the seeds more than the nuts, but boy, nuts are an important part of my diet. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. What
So,
do you think when some people say, well, the nuts just don't make me feel good? I feel better when I cut them out of my diet.
yeah, that's a great question. And the answer really lies in transitioning to a raw vegan diet. What I mean is that if you're going to detox and you spend months juice fasting, and then you spend months on a fruitarian diet, or you really love the way you feel so high, so good on a fruitarian diet, that is a transition. You've made a transition from a cooked
Mm-hmm.
diet to a fruitarian style, high fruit, raw vegan diet, right? But then to reintroduce a balance of macronutrients, including fats, you go through a second transition. It's
Mm-hmm.
literally a second transition. Just like when you first start eating fruit, you might get tired, you might feel weird, you might feel detoxy, you might feel sluggish. The same happens when we adjust to a macro balance. We might feel weird or sluggish or heavy, or it takes us down from that fruit high. I'm telling you guys, this is what we want. We don't want to be on a fruit high all the time. That's not the goal. The
Mm-hmm.
goal is to have a balance and to feel good consistently within a balanced range of macros. If we can do that, we can be successful raw vegans long term. If we're this out of balance, only fruit mentality, we might be able to maintain that for a year or two, or maybe even a few years. But I don't see a single example of
Mm-hmm.
anyone who exhibits robust health who's just eating fruit. I just don't see it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. And Denise says, I would like to know the best ways for a woman in her 40s and beyond to build and preserve muscle as a raw vegan or vegan. What types of foods and exercises you recommend or we should avoid? Thanks so much.
Yeah, well, I would focus on a good balance of macronutrients. So track your fats and make sure you're getting at least 20% of your fats from whole food sources, specifically high in omega 3s. My trifecta favorites are the flax, chia, and hemp seeds. I mean, my body is built on flax, chia, and hemp seeds.
I love it.
Um, Focus on those for your fats and make sure that you're getting enough fats in your diet. What I do is I focus on 20% of my calories from fat and I let the proteins and carbs kind of fall where they may and shoot for my calorie range. So if I need 3,000 calories a day, 20% of those calories come from fats. The
Mhm.
rest falls where it may. It's pretty simple. If
Mhm.
you do that, plus you work out in the gym with a progressive overload mindset. Now, we're talking about longevity. Somebody in their 40s isn't looking to be a bodybuilder. We're talking about health and longevity. You want to go into the gym looking to improve yourself each time a little bit, just improve. The body adapts, the nervous system adapts, the bones and the ligaments adapts, and you will get stronger. This strength that I'm talking about, that's what creates vitality and health long into old age. It's not just muscle that's popping, that looks good. It's the internal strength of your bones and ligaments as well. So if you focus on just doing better each time, you will do better and your muscles will be strong and you'll look good and you'll feel good. That's the longevity strategy.
Okay.
So progressive overload is important, but you don't always have to be trying to improve like every single time. It's like a long-term strategy. Just do better each time you go into the gym.
Yeah, good points, good points. Okay, and the next question they said, can you ask about calories? We've talked about that. And the best raw foods with high calories for athletes.
I think everybody, this is what comes to my mind. Everybody wants somebody to tell them what to do. We
Mhm.
love that. We love people to tell us how to do stuff, what to do, what to love, what to fear, what to hate, what to eat. We want somebody to tell us because it's easier. But if we take it upon ourselves to find the answers for ourselves, we really truly find the answers. We're not just adopting someone else's version. We are embodying the truth and the wisdom of personal experience. There's no substitute for that. And I think that that is the absolute key to that question there, because everybody wants somebody to tell us. But if you find it for yourself, if you do the experimentation, if you do the work and you experience the results for yourself through trial and error and time and investment and consistency, then you're going to know. So, me just saying the answers doesn't help people. I would say we got to
True.
go, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We've got to go for our best self. We've got to become the person who lives an inspiring life. It's going to kind of vary for every individual what that is. But as a fully raw vegan, then it's kind of like we've got to decide in our mind that that's the vision we're going to create. We got to know who we are committed to being and what we're committed to creating. If we can do that, we're going to be successful in everything we do. Me personally, I will be successful at anything I do. Luckily, I'm a good guy. I'm on the side of good and justice and ethics and compassion and morality on this planet. I
Mhm.
serve the light and the good side. Now, if I was a carnivore marching for the death of millions of animals, I would be really good at that. I
Mhm.
could be maybe the best at that, you know? But I choose the path that I envision. I choose the growth of humanity, ascension, awakening, you know, the light path. That's what I want. So, but I would be good at anything I do,
Yeah.
anything I do, and that's because I know the principles of leadership, and I embody leadership, which is I'm enrolled in who I'm being. I create connection in everything I do. I am as authentic as I can possibly be. I learn how to contribute my value. I take
Mhm.
responsibility for my words and actions, and I am committed and I find commitment and I learn how to be committed. So that's my
Mhm.
stand.
And with the carnivore, like, why do you think some people say they find healing on a carnivore diet? Like, there's some people out there that say like it healed them. How can I'm surprised that that can even happen. Why do you think that happens? What do you think the story is there?
Well, because people are maybe coming from an inflammatory style diet, with grains and oils. and sugars, alcohol, caffeine, and we have the extreme autoimmune situations happening, or inflammation or mucus type situations happening. So going to animal products, specifically meat, not so much dairy and eggs, but meat will reduce inflammation temporarily because it's not such highly inflammatory foods like our modern diet promotes, like our modern society promotes everywhere. You know, if you're eating fast food, yeah, eating steak and asparagus is going to reduce your health problems. But let's just be real. Animal products have an acid residue ash when they are metabolized. Every food has either an alkaline or ash residue. There's two sides to chemistry in the whole universe. There's only two. There's not four. There's two: acid or alkaline. Alkaline is growth and life and birth. You look at the beautiful pictures of forests and trees and birds and flora and fauna and rivers. That's all alkalinity. If you look at death, destruction, decay, that's acid. There's two sides of the spectrum. If we want to be in vitality and health and regenerative conditions, grow our body, be in health, that's alkaline. Acid forming foods create an acid residue ash in the body. Meat, milk, eggs, grains, oils, alcohol, caffeine are all acidic. So it creates acid in the body. If we eat an animal-based diet like keto, carnivore, whatever you want to call it, it's all acid. It's acid residue. And then there's no fiber or enzymes. So that's a double whammy. So we're going to create sluggish bowels. We're going to create mucus. We're going to create acids. And then over time, we're going to feel those results. We might get achy joints by the time we're 60 when, you know, the raw vegans aren't. And the Eskimos, the Inuit Eskimos, for instance, they have the shortest lifespan of any species, of any culture on Earth, also dying with arthritis. And they eat all raw animal products traditionally, right? Like seal and blubber and whale. But that type of diet is all acids. So there's just no way around the acid alkaline scale. Every food we eat is on the acid alkaline scale. You can look it up. If you want to promote a carnivore diet, look at what foods are on the acid scale. That's what it's going to be.
And like all that aside, when I see an animal, whether it's alive or dead, I never look at it and think like, that looks delicious. You know, I look at it and think like, oh, you know, especially if you see a dead animal or a living animal, I never think like, I want to kill that and eat that. You know what I mean? I just can't even, I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. We're conditioned to think that the like processed, dead, cooked flesh chunk is appetizing. But if we look at the animal itself, we don't have the means to go and kill it and eat it. Every other animal kills it with their fangs and claws and drinks its blood right there on the spot, eats its guts, fur, and bones and all. That's how every carnivore acts. We are frugivores. We're designed for a fruit-based diet with greens and simple proteins like nuts and seeds. That's how our digestive system, that's how our teeth are set up. So yeah, certainly we look at a bunny rabbit or a cow that we don't think, oh, yum.
Yeah,
But a
no.
carnivore does. A carnivore, you know, tears the thing apart, rips its veins out right on the spot, bleeds it out, pulls its guts out. Humans don't.
Yeah, not any humans I know, at
Who would
least.
who would
Not that
want to
I'm
do that
friends
when
with.
there's fruit falling from the trees
Yeah.
and the vines and nuts and seeds are growing on the trees in abundance? Why would we do that?
Yeah, especially nowadays. You know what I mean? Yeah. Okay, so the next question they said, I would like to know if I have to count my macros in order to build muscle and how to do it and why it has been so difficult to lose fat and build muscle when pretty much I'm eating watermelons and bananas. Thanks.
Yes, we do have to track our macros. It's a really good idea. And the reason you're not getting results is because you have two goals happening simultaneously: build muscle and lose fat, that are conflicting. So when we have two goals that are conflicting, we will achieve neither. So what you have to do is focus on one until you achieve it, and then the other until you achieve it, one at a time. You can't lose fat and build muscle at the same time. You can start working out in the gym and eating less and lose a little weight and start to see muscles pop. But if you actually want to build muscle, you have to gain weight. And if you want to lose weight, you have to lose weight. So you can track it on the scale. You can track it with a tape measure, a caliper. You can track it on the scale in the mirror, wherever you can track it. But that's what you got to do. You got to track, am I gaining weight or losing weight? It's that simple. The reason I have the physique that I have, that I'm 195 pounds and 15% body fat as a raw vegan, is because that's what I do. I track it and I know, am I gaining weight or am I losing weight? And I make sure I know which goal I'm doing at any given time. I will tell you, gaining weight is fun. It's easy. You get to eat more. You feel good. You're
Mm-hmm.
caloried up. You're ready to
Mm-hmm.
go. You're carbed up on fruit. Feels amazing. There's nothing harder in the world than being in a calorie deficit, actually making your body turn to body fat for fuel, catabolizing itself, and trying to go work out at the same time. There's nothing harder than that. It's horrible. It feels like you're going to die. It's not
Mm-hmm.
easy. And this is why people don't achieve that result, because exercising in a calorie deficit is very challenging. Imagine being sick home with the flu and thinking, I'm going to go work out. I mean, it's like that. You
Yeah.
don't feel good. You don't feel like you want to go work out. But that's why people who have that result are impressive, because they have done that. They have worked out when they have no energy and they're undercaloried and their body's consuming itself, and they still go push weight in the gym. So
Mm-hmm.
it's the two goals that are conflicting. If you want to lose weight and build muscle and look good and eat bananas and watermelon, you got to choose your goal and
I
focus
love
on one
that.
at a time,
Yeah, I
and
love that
track.
about.
Yeah, and track your calories and macros in a calorie tracker. I like MyFitnessPal. People like Chronometer. Anyone will do. Your choice.
Okay. And James says, any particular nutrition that I can incorporate to strengthen bones? Since my chiropractor said stop running, which I'm 70, I love running and I'm not giving it up. Not yet,
Mm.
maybe never.
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's true that running will decrease bone mass and body mass. So running is great, but not instead of mass building, strength building. You want to increase your bone density, you've got to put your bones under massive weight. Get strong at the gym, get strong at the bench press and the squat and the deadlift. Those are hard. They don't, it doesn't feel good to do that right at first, but it does pay off. And even at 70, it's not about how much weight, it's putting your body under load. Just go in and do what you can. And then also, my recommendation is to sprint and not do extended steady state cardio. It's the steady state running that will strip your body of muscle and bone density.
Hmm.
That's just what happens. You want to really shrink as a human, just do steady state cardio, not in a good way. If
What
you want
about
to,
like the elliptical though? What do you think about the elliptical? I've been doing that lately. I've just got back into working out. I need to get my arms and stuff stronger. Do you
oh,
think the
Jillian,
elliptical
you're
is
gonna get
good for
all
that or
shredded
no?
up.
I want to. It's so I
No.
haven't had much time though with the kids. I've been home with the kids. But when I do, like when they're back in school and stuff, like do you think the elliptical is good or no for like a woman?
It doesn't matter what exercise you're doing. If you're at, well, so 118 beats per minute heart rate is the optimal for fat loss. That's essentially a brisk walk. So
Okay.
brisk walking puts your heart rate at a state where you're optimally burning fat. However, if you do that for too long, brisk walking, it will reduce your muscle mass. So what's a better strategy for
Mm-hmm.
being muscular or athletic looking is to sprint and do interval sprinting. And it's called HIIT, or HIIT, for high intensity interval training.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally the best. If you look at sprinters in the Olympics, like who's the guy from Jamaica? I'm going to forget his name.
Mm-hmm. I think
Who was it? Lightning Bolt. Usain Bolt, muscular dude, winning the Olympics at the sprint, so muscular, right? But then you
mm-hmm.
look at marathon runners and they're like, poles. That says it all. If you want to be muscular, you sprint. If you want to be a little pole, you do marathon type extended state cardio. So
True.
it doesn't matter what, if you're doing the elliptical, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. It's that sprinting, getting your heart rate up extremely high and then back down in intervals, that maintains your muscle mass.
Hmm.
So just doing endless hours on the elliptical is not efficient. It's not a good use of time or energy, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. I learn a lot in these interviews. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So
Yeah.
Jillian, what I would recommend for you is actually to go lift weights, get a little muscle
Yeah.
mass going. That burns calories throughout the day. If you stimulate your muscles are activated all day. So you're burning calories all day. If you get on the elliptical, you're only burning calories for the moments you're on that elliptical.
Okay.
So muscle mass plays a huge part in fat loss. And then in combination, if you want to get on the elliptical, do all out, full tilt, all energy out, and then stop and do that in intervals. That's the way to do it. You'll shred the fat so much faster. You'll be
Okay.
amazed at the results if you do the high intensity interval sprinting.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
amazing. And the next question, they said if you carry some fat, especially belly fat, is it better to detox like a juice cleanse, etc., first to lose the weight before focusing on building muscle, or does that come as an added benefit? Well, yeah, we talked about a bit about that.
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely, yes. Focus on
Yeah.
detox first, adjust the gut, get your body prepared for a raw vegan diet, and then work out after. Really, the two conflicting goals is where people get confused and never achieve their goal because they're trying to lose fat and build muscle at the same time. It's not possible. Just focus on losing fat. You're going to lose muscle. You're going to lose body mass. You're going to lose your good looks. You're going to lose everything. Losing body fat is a horrible process. It's not fun. And then once you've achieved that and you're lean, then go into the gym and start working out hard and fuel those workouts with raw food. Oh man, your muscles will just pop.
Yeah. And when you were detoxing, did you really lose your good looks? Because I have a hard time believing that. Not to be cheesy or
Thanks,
anything, but
Jillian. Thanks. I appreciate that. I think so. I
okay.
mean, I look back now. I was making YouTube videos back then years ago, and I look back at those videos. I'm like, oh God, I looked stressed out. I looked gaunt, drawn out, detoxy. Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
I looked good. I actually look a lot younger than I did then. People
Yeah.
tell me that all the time, like, oh, I was looking at your old videos and like, I can't believe how much better you look now.
And do you still think you would look this young if you ate cooked food?
Um,
Like, is it in your genes? How, like, some people say, well, it's in the genes too. What do you say about
they
that?
do say that. Yeah, I think I've been plant-based most of my life. I've been focused on health. I was juicing as a teenager. I mean,
Wow.
come on. I
Yeah.
mean, yes, it plays a huge part. My diet and my lifestyle has been on a road of health and self-mastery my whole life. There have been times where I fell off the wagon and got enrolled in the silly fitness narrative, nutrition narrative, which my video that I'm releasing this week is about that. My exact journey, my entire timeline. I'm so excited to tell the story because it's like I'm
Yeah.
giving everybody every detail of, I think it'll be helpful for people. But ultimately, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And the next question says, can you skip the exercise and just get muscle growth through the right mix of nutritional supplements like creatine and protein powder?
Skip the exercise. The only thing that matters is the exercise. The
Yeah.
supplements do nothing, mean nothing, are useless, and literally don't take them and avoid them at all costs. You don't need supplements, they do nothing. Creatine, look, it's proven scientifically, we know creatine might give you a tiny 1% like strength increase. It's not even worth it. It doesn't matter. What energy are you putting into the gym? That's what matters. Your body will respond to stimulus, not to supplements. If you want
Mm-hmm.
to look like you work out, you got to work out. There's no other way to do it. Food alone will allow you to gain body size and you can put on body fat if you eat more food, but you won't put on muscle unless you stimulate the muscle through progressive overload and hypertrophy rep ranges.
Mm-hmm.
That's the combination, and mind muscle connection. Actually, that's the third component. If you don't have mind muscle connection, most likely you will not put on muscle. It
Wow.
literally takes a mind muscle connection to build muscle. But
Wow.
you can establish a mind muscle connection simply by doing it and doing the reps. You'll eventually be able to put that mind into the muscle. But taking supplements and eating food alone will not grow muscle at all, period, zero.
Okay. And the classic question, where do you get your protein? They said kidding.
I love that. Well, I've talked about it. I get my protein from fats.
Yeah.
That's where I get my protein. I eat fats and I get my protein from my fats. That's
Yeah.
how it works in nature. Proteins aren't coming out in a chunk like we say, do you want protein on your salad?
Mm-hmm.
No, there's no such thing as protein. It's in all food. What we're talking about is animal carcass. We think we've got it wrong. All protein comes from all food.
Mm-hmm.
If we eat more food, we're going to get more protein, but we can eat protein rich foods like nuts and seeds or superfoods, spirulina, certain, we can take juice powders and dehydrate them and kind of concentrate the proteins. That's all good. We
Mm-hmm.
can take green powder blends, of like nettles and moringa powder and chlorella and spirulina and combine it. And that's a wonderful source of protein. But most people do not want to think of spirulina as protein, but it
Mm-hmm.
is. It's actually
Mm-hmm.
like pure protein. Can we build muscle from a tablespoon of spirulina powder? Yeah, we certainly can. That's what it actually is. It doesn't take chunks of mucus forming, decaying flesh to build muscle at all. It takes amino acids in pure
Mm-hmm.
form, and that's
Mm-hmm.
available in all foods.
Mm-hmm. And then Jessica says, does exercise throw off your resolve to eat healthier?
For me, it's the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exercise and eating healthy for me have become one. They go hand in hand. One fuels the other. If I work out, there's nothing that feels as good as like eating blueberries and salad and nuts and seeds after a workout. Like that makes me feel like, oh my God, my muscles, my body is getting pure form food, pure form fats, whole undenatured proteins, full whole raw carbohydrates. I mean, I know that that's what my body is responding to. So it feels really good
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
combine that.
Yeah. And the next question she said, please, I need some muscles on my shoulders. It's very bony. It hurts when I sleep on my sides.
Mm, okay. Yeah, shoulders are a great muscle group to work out. I work out my
Mm-hmm.
shoulders a lot and I love it. Overhead press. You push
Mm-hmm.
up the weight like this,
Okay.
and that will build your shoulder. You can see if I turn around, like the size of my shoulders are pretty big, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because this is what I do. I push it up.
Yeah.
Just go like this with weight and get better every time you do it. That's the goal. If you can improve in the weight every time you do that, you'll get some padding on your shoulders.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. And Shay Shay says how to gain weight on a raw diet. I mean, we talked a little bit on that, but I don't know if you want to
Well, the
expand.
the reason that gaining weight would be a concern would be because there's an absorption issue or because there's a detoxification issue. If
Mm-hmm.
we're going through a detoxification phase of trying a raw vegan diet, we want to be raw vegan, but we've been cooked omnivore our whole life, and now we're trying raw vegan and we're losing weight. That's detox.
Mm-hmm.
You can speed up the detoxification process by emptying the bowels completely with a juice fast, stripping out the biofilms and the plaque and the mucus that inhibits absorption and utilization. That's where you start. And then if you are cleaned out and your microbiome is strong and you're able to digest properly and you can eat sprouts and greens and fruits and nuts and seeds effortlessly, gaining
Mm-hmm.
weight will not be an issue because your body
Mm-hmm.
by that time will have already put on the weight to balance into a natural homeostasis and optimal body composition for who we are, our age, our height, because that's what the body wants to do. The body wants to put on optimal weight. If you're underweight, you have an absorption issue and you need to start with a juice fast. But I would highly recommend doing a juice fast properly because just drinking juices for a period of time probably won't be adequate. Most people mistake juice fasting with bowel detoxification. Detoxifying the bowels for removing biofilm to improve absorption as a raw vegan is a specific process. I have a protocol that I've outlined working with people to do this over the years, and it's very effective.
Mm-hmm.
Every single person who follows my protocol gets the result they're looking for, which is the removal of waste, stripping out those biofilms and plaques, and getting the gut prepared to absorb properly. There's nothing that can substitute that. And it is amazing. Feels amazing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. And Tina says, could you please ask if you're able to build muscle with things like resistance bands, calisthenics? I don't know if that's a proper word. Isometric and isotonic exercises as one who goes to the gym and is lifting heavy weights. I see many people on YouTube who have muscle with lots of definition and are just using their own body weight. I was thinking in the long run, it might just be better on the joints when approaching your 60s or up. Just would like to hear what's best for the body and results.
Yeah. So if somebody is doing calisthenics, for instance, they could be very small, but have very low body fat percentage and look muscular and defined on the camera. But if you put them next to me, for instance, they would look tiny and frail, even if they look defined. So having strength is the goal. Yes, you can build strength with calisthenics, but you're not going to build muscle mass with calisthenics. You can get a good workout in, increase your cardio, and reduce body fat with calisthenics, which will show off the muscle mass that you currently have. And often that's what people do, and that's all that people want. They want to look muscular, so you actually get really lean, and it shows off your current muscle mass. But you could be very small. In fact, I experience it all the time. People on social media talking about social media influencers, fitness influencers, and they're like, so-and-so is masculine and muscular. And I go look at their profile and they're tiny. They probably weigh 140 pounds, because their body fat is like 7%. So do you want to be a 140-pound man? I certainly do not. There's no way that's going to satisfy me. I'm 195 pounds right now at 15% body fat. I don't want to look stressed out and be hyper lean. That's not my goal. But you'll look hella ripped and you'll look muscular if you do that. And this person asked about joints, and if you avoid weak joints, you will never strengthen your joints. Like I was saying, there's the longevity and health requires that we strengthen the tendons and the connective tissue and the bone density. That is health. You have to lift weights. There's no question. Calisthenics is fine. You can have a calisthenics routine. You can have the isometric moves in your routine, but that's not going to build muscle. It's not going to build bone density. It's not going to build cartilage or ligament strength. And if we want to really be vital and strong and capable well into old age, we need an alkaline diet, and we need to utilize those interconnective tissues of the body. Lifting weights is the only way to do it. I know people have so much stigma about lifting weights, like gym people are just, I don't know, whatever people think. I used to think the same way, that they're just all, in their head, or like they're just focused on aesthetics or whatnot. But it's not true. And the way you feel when you lift weights is unbeatable. I don't think there's anything else like it. Doing stretching, yoga, calisthenics, all the different other styles of exercise, which are phenomenally wonderful, do not produce the same results as weights for a reason, because the way the weights work, especially the 5 compound movements, recruits every single muscle in the body under these 5 moves. And you see it when you look at somebody who works out. They look aesthetically pleasing. Why? They look aesthetically pleasing because they're recruiting muscle groups in their body under tension. And that's phenomenal to do. So being lean and being muscular are completely different things. A 140-pound man might look muscular on Instagram, but is going to look like a little peewee in real life, and certainly not an example of a masculine man. And we make this mistake all the time. My goal is to be a masculine man, a masculine raw vegan, who's fully in my polarity of masculinity, capability, strength, and dominance in my field. And there's no other alternative for me. And I'm going to just do that. And that requires lifting weights without a question.
Absolutely. Well said. Okay. Well, this has been amazing. Thanks for coming on and sharing your knowledge, your wisdom. I mean, you certainly have accomplished this. So there's no better person to talk to than someone who like walks the walk, talks the talk. You have amazing muscle mass and you're living your best life. So I want to ask, please let everybody know where they can find you. And if you feel called to end off with any words, then absolutely please do so as well, Shane.
Oh, thanks, Jillian. So I'm Raw Vegan Rising on social media, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Go check out my crazy TikTok with tons of haters and millions of views on the videos. It's kind of fun. Say hi over there. But I have my group coaching program, Raw Vegan Heroes, which is amazing. And Jillian, you were a founding member of Raw Vegan
Yeah,
Heroes
it's a
when I
great group. I
first
loved it so
started
much.
it.
Yeah.
I love it so much too. It's a movement that's grown bigger than me and bigger than all of us. And it's a community of people. We have almost 1,000 members
Wow.
and it's thriving. There's so much love and support. It's not for perfect raw vegans. Raw Vegan Heroes is for people who want to learn about how a raw vegan diet can help them feel better. And it's not a process of taking action right away. It's like being part of a community, seeing what others are doing and learning through example. And that's what the power of a group community like Raw Vegan Heroes can offer: high level accountability, amazing support, and the knowledge to do your transformation to a raw vegan diet, including the juice fasting protocol that I used myself and that I've developed with hundreds of clients of mine. It's very
Hmm.
effective. And I have a video course in there from how to go from a non-vegan to a raw vegan hero. I have a weekly live stream that I do in the group where I give coaching directly to people. So if people want to work with me, Raw Vegan Heroes is the best place to start. And it's really, really affordable. I have made it my mission to make the group so affordable. When people click the link and look at what you get, people go, wow.
Hmm.
That's my goal. I want people to say, wow, how can Shane do that? How can Shane provide so much value? Well, that's my goal. I want to provide tons of value and have people really feel good and love their community and feel like they can really be a raw vegan. That's what
Hmm.
I stand for.
Absolutely. Amazing. Well, everybody go follow Shane, and I will link everything below as well. And yeah, again, thanks so much for coming on. I look forward to having you on again in the future. I always love having you on and talking to you so much.
Thanks,
And
Jillian. I always love being here too. You ask the best darn questions. You're so good at what you do.
thanks. I love it so much. And to the viewers, I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I hope it did add some value to your day. If it did, give it a big thumbs up right now. And make sure you subscribe if you don't already. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.